This particular fire direction center shack was being powered by a continuously ran 10K generator on a very minimal load. The load on it was about 1.3 kW, and we had a 10K powering it, running it 24/7. I decided to go ahead and let's try to get the H series here to supplement the power needs or demand for this particular system by bringing in the H series. It is a hybrid 5K system, and the end state was actually to try to reduce the soldier's task of the maintenance and the fueling and all that good stuff on that particular generator. Not to mention that we're wasting 9 kW worth of energy from that generator. The system or the unit has been here right around 4 months, or we can say 2,800 hours down here. The particular generator that was running the system only ran 321 hours to support 2,200 hours of energy needs for the actual site. With me, I got the platoon sergeant, who is the owner of the Fire Direction Center, Sergeant Stroop, and I got the generator operator, gunner, and all the other tasks that he's got here. PFC Diaz. We got our striker vehicle right here, and it is being slaved into our H series back here. Today we have absolutely zero solar coming in because of the cloud cover and the light rain that we got coming on. So what we got going right here is a two-way system from the solar battery bank powering the striker vehicle, as well as the striker vehicle being able to power or refill up the battery bank on the actual system itself. Kind of like a battery tender for motorcycles. Now, when we talk about generator maintenance and stuff like that, how long does it take normally for you guys to get your resupplies here? How often? Where are they coming from? How many vehicles and all that stuff is there?
We get resupplies in all different forms. We get air resupplies, we get ground convoy resupplies. Fuel is obviously brought in by ground. Normally we see it maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. It's obviously a convoy involved, so there's a lot of personnel and vehicles involved in that. And there is the risk, of course, obviously in this environment, every time you put boots out there on a convoy with the IED threats and everything.
My thinking was when I brought the hybrid system down is that I have less runtime, I have less fuel being needed, all right, and the maintenance is also easier. How long does it take on this particular system here to clean these panels here?
About 5 minutes max.
Okay, 5 minutes. Probably 5 minutes with a bottle of water and a broom if you're short, all right, cleaning the panels. That will help the intensity of the solar coming through and your charge time. Again, today, no need to. All right, our panels are up and running. Our vehicle here. Now, for your vehicle, for your gun, okay, how often are you required now to start up? Is it reduced to start your vehicle and all that stuff?
With the vehicle by itself, continuous hot gun for protection for the cob, we have to check it every 4 hours usually to make sure the battery is not dying and all the systems stay up and operational. So we usually have to come out, check it, and run it for about half an hour every 4 hours. Once we hook it to the solar powered system, we might have to check it once a day, if that.
So, the old unit before you, every hour on the hour, that thing would sound the audible alarm. The soldier would have to come out, put his helmet on, climb up in front, start the vehicle, run that vehicle for about a half hour, power it back down, and come back and do his duties. All right? So that's one thing that we don't have to do, or the soldiers and the leadership doesn't have to do, is make sure every hour somebody's firing up our vehicle. Not to mention wear and tear on the vehicle. Starter, battery, all the electronics is always being started, powered down, and so on and so on. So now let's talk a little bit about our system. You can see that we have a standard 5K, which is the far right one. Then we move over here, we have a 10K. Now the unit elected to go ahead and bring in a backup generator. So they brought in a 10K, which is easily just connected right there to the power source, and it's coming right into our H series right here. We have our standard 5-panel layout right here that's mounted on the trailer. It was trailered in here, and what we can see is that from our power source, it's running up through, and we have our AC, our alternating current is coming in. This is charging the battery bank. And if you come in here, you can see up underneath, we have our battery bank up underneath the system. So when the batteries go down to 70%, the generator will do an auto start, charge the batteries back up, all right? And then we're continuing to fill our battery bank and provide power to the load. Also, right here, these are our 2 legs that are feeding our FTC shack in there. We have miscellaneous lights, power sockets, radios, amps. The last unit had computers in there, as well as the Chiga. So basically our power is coming from the sun, through the panels, through the battery banks, and into our load. What we have right here is we have our solar. Our biggest piece of maintenance is keeping the solar panels clean. Again, it takes 5-10 minutes max to do that. Our generator is only running how often during a 24-hour period?
Hooked up to the solar panel?
Yeah.
We usually only have to run it at night, and usually only if we are doing a fire mission.
Okay. And for the batteries on a normal day, you're looking about maybe 2 hours to charge up the battery bank, and then the auto start system shuts down, killing the generator, and it continues to run off of batteries until the sun starts to come up in the morning, and then we're solar, providing power to our source. So that's a pretty good deal there. With the system, once it's set up and operational, there is not a lot of soldier's tasks that you have to do, because in the morning when you come by, what is your daily routine coming by here doing your preventive maintenance, your daily checks, services, and stuff like that? How much is involved on this particular system?
Really not too much. I'll come in, I'll start up the hot gun, the MFCS and whatnot. I'll come through by the system, make sure it's on solar, make sure the panels aren't dirty. If they're dirty, clean them off, which takes, like we said, about 5 minutes. And just make sure all the connections are nice and tight in there. That's about it.
Okay, so you can look at that right there on the DC, the solar side. He's got one toggle he's got to be concerned with. If you come over here and you look on this side, what are we looking for on this side? And this is the AC side where the power from the generator is coming in. Also the loads are going out from here. So we have 3 extension cords right here that we got to worry about. What all do we have? Once these switches are turned on, that's it. The soldier doesn't have to do anything. He's checking them, making sure that they're on. We have our 3 yellow cords connected. The solar's on. Of course, these panels right here are covered to where they never have to mess with that. So, is it pretty simple? Or would we rather have a generator running 24/7 on something that's not needed?
Very simple.
Okay.
Very simple.
Okay. The fact that we're able to keep the battery charged in the striker, and when the striker does get full or while it is charging, it's also charging the battery bank. What you see inside here is not exposed on a 24-hour period because we have our covers on it, and makes it pretty simple. So if we come over this direction, continuing on with the PMCS or the daily checks, what do you look for here when you're coming up to your generators to make sure that nobody has messed with anything?
Just to make sure all the connections are smooth, nothing blocking them, nothing on top of them, make sure it's nice and connected to the generator.
Okay, so again, you got your 2 legs, you got your 220 coming in from your generator, simply following the cords down, making sure that they do in fact go into your generator and they're correctly hooked up. Okay, once that's done, you don't have to worry about it, but checking it once a month. And then, of course, our auto start functionality with our generators. Probably the nicest thing, because how often, once the batteries run down, how often do you got to start them?
Once a day.
Okay, and do you have to start them, or is it
the auto generator or the auto start kicks in once the batteries go low? That way we don't have to come out and check it. It just starts right up.
Okay, outstanding. Okay, so with all that, with the auto start functionality on the 5K versus the 10K, it starts when the batteries are down, and normally that's about what, 2-3 o'clock in the morning. All right, so for noise and light discipline, that's great. It's not running 24/7. So with the system, do you find that it is more is it better for you in minimizing your daily tasks?
Definitely.
Okay.
A lot better.
Okay. And platoon sergeant, your guys, I'm sure he has a lot of duties that he's got to do during the day. Does this help you out by reducing your soldier's tasks or your daily tasks?
Yes. It helps out a lot. There's plenty of things that I and my other teammates have to accomplish, and this is just one less thing that we have to worry about. So it definitely helps out a lot.
I've got very limited manpower out here right now, so every little thing that they have to do really counts. So any task that I can cut out so they can focus on more important tasks for COB protection and for missions is outstanding.
That's good. I do know the last unit was here. They had one guy that his sole function during the day was to go around in a gator and do nothing but nonstop fuel top-offs and fueling up, external as well as generators, and that was one of the big things that I wanted to alleviate down here. So I think that the system has definitely been advantageous. I mean, these guys here are the ones where the system had an impact.
A really great system, especially in environments like this, austere environments, while we're deployed. It definitely helps with the soldier tasks, minimizing those tasks that we can, so we can focus on the more important tasks. My guys come out here once a day in the morning to start up the hot gun, and they do a quick 2-minute check on this system. They make sure the power's on, they make sure the cords are connected, clean out the solar panels, rather than coming out every 4 hours to run a generator, fill fuel, check and charge the truck as well. So it greatly reduces that because they've got many other tasks they've got to accomplish.
Okay, that is all we have to say, and from down here in the Panjwar district area, down at Mushan. Thanks again, and take care.
This is your AFN Afghanistan Freedom Watch update. I'm Air Force Staff Sergeant Melissa Hay. Resupplying troops in a forward deployed location in Afghanistan could be easier with alternative methods. Petty Officer Eric Holmes tells us what the Rapid Equipping Force is studying.
The Department of Defense is working with Rapid Equipping Force on methods of renewable energy. Solar panels and wind-generated energy reduces fuel costs, supply convoys, and weight and space on convoys, all of which saves resources.
But it's also important to be knowledgeable about the logistical portion of it when it comes to power and energy, knowing what it takes to power something, how much energy it takes to power something.
These methods, also known as zero-base regenerator systems, are still in the trial phase. Petty Officer Eric Holmes, Bagram Airfield, Afghanistan.
A team studying the alternative methods visited 3 other forward operating bases in Afghanistan to see conditions for improvement firsthand.
The Department of Defense is working with Rapid Equipping Force on methods of renewable energy. Solar panels and wind-generated energy reduces fuel costs, supply convoys, and weight and space on convoys, all of which saves resources.
And so if we are better users of fuel and better users of water, or we use less of both, that means there's fewer convoys on the road.
Much of the research comes from troops themselves, who say educating senior leadership on renewable energy is key.
But it's also important to be knowledgeable about the logistical portion of it when it comes to power and energy, knowing what it takes to power something, how much energy it takes to power something.
These methods, also known as zero-base regenerator systems, are still in the trial phase. Petty Officer Eric Holmes, Bagram Airfield, Afghanistan.
microgrid is a hybrid solar and diesel gasoline generator system that is much more efficient in its production of power than a gasoline generator by itself. It combines a gas generator, solar power, and a battery storage bank to capture as much energy as possible and distribute it in the most efficient manner. The battery bank puts out electrical current until it is at a 20% state of charge. The diesel generator is then automatically switched on and recharges the batteries. This allows you to run your generator much less and is more efficient in the capture and distribution of the energy that the generator produces. In testing, 4 tactical quiet generators ran for 36 days at 24 hours per day, totaling 3,456 hours of runtime on the generators within that period. The 4 tactical quiet generators in the microgrid system, producing the same output, had a total of 1,718 working hours. That's half the hours and less wear and tear on your generator. It also means less routine maintenance and unexpected downtime. The generators were functional 97.9% of the time. The system also includes solar panels that can generate some power for the batteries to reduce the amount of time the generator has to run. You can plug in additional solar panels to generate even more energy. The microgrid system will reduce the consumption of fuel and provide a more reliable system of power for troops on the battlefield.